What is up YouTube, IDM here, and welcome back to another tweak video. I like to mix it up a bit and record like this sometimes. It's just fun to switch it up, and plus I think this can give you a little bit of a closer look at my jailbroken device as it's right on your screen being captured. So I wanted to do a video on ZenHTML because I feel like there's a lot to know about this tweak alone, and plus the tweak can really make your iPhone look really freaking cool. Now I've been just kind of messing around here. As you can see, my device looks pretty crazy. And for those of you that are going to ask, I will be doing a best tweaks video on this setup and all the different tweaks that I am using. But like I said, I'm going to focus on ZenHTML in this video. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into settings here, and I'm going to back up. So here's the main settings for ZenHTML. It's broken down very nicely. You have lock screen, home screen. You have an advanced section, which I'm not going to really talk about because this stuff, you can basically just read what it does and it'll explain it. And then you have more widgets. This section here shows you other creators that create widgets. So if you want to discover more widgets, you can check out this section, which is pretty cool. And then you have support and donate. So basically you just have the two sections, lock screen and home screen. And each section is a little bit different, but the fundamentals are the same. First off, in the upper right, you have your on-off switch. So if you want the lock screen or the home screen to be independent from one another, you can do that. You can change this angle here to see where your widgets are in terms of being on the background or being on the foreground. Now, as you can see, the background is the widget that I'm using right now. It's on the second layer after the wallpaper. And then you have the third layer, which is your normal iOS stuff. And then you have the layer in front of that, which would be foreground stuff. So let's just go ahead and throw that in the foreground, and I can show you that it's represented there in the layers. And you can see kind of how those are affected. And your notifications are on the most top layer because you can interact with those. So it's pretty cool how the layer system works with ZenHTML. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this foreground widget because that would look really weird having a widget on top of another widget. But you have foreground, your background, you have some independent controls here that are specific for the lock screen. So you have hide lock screen clock, you can hide swipe up to unlock text, you can hide other elements of the lock screen, you have notification behavior as well. You have lock screen idle duration. I changed mine to 30 seconds, that's just what I like. You have an advanced section here, and then you can snap the widgets to the y-axis, which allows you to center the widgets a little bit better. So that's the lock screen section, and again, home screen is very similar. You have your layer system here, and you can see how the layers kind of work. So if we do a foreground widget, actually it just tells you how to get there. I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. But the foreground will be where the applications are, and then the background is behind the applications, and the background widgets do not move when you swipe from page to page, but the foreground widgets do, and I do have that set up, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But then you have your independent kind of home screen controls here for hide the dock blur, hide folder icon blur, hide icon labels, hide the page dots, allow touch on the background, and then of course snap the widgets to the y-axis. And of course, when you go into these sections, you can add a widget just by selecting it. Of course, you're going to need some widgets downloaded. There are some that come by default, and there's actually a lot of different ways to download widgets. Some of them can be found directly from a repo, like in Cydia or Cilio. Some of them you can install manually. There are creators out there that don't use a repo, but you can still download the widgets and install them manually. And two people to put in that list would be like Daddy Cool. Also, Kenny Roo has some widgets that you can download and manually install. And I'll actually show you guys how to do that here at the end of this video, how to install widgets manually, because it might be something cool for you guys to know if you want to get custom widgets that are not in a repo. But we are on the background right now, so this is the background widgets. You can go here and add a widget, whatever you want. You can add multiple widgets, so if you want multiple different elements, multiple different widgets, you can do that. Now I'm going to go into, I have two widgets enabled for the background currently. So I have my Gully widget, which is this one, and you can click the little gear on the bottom middle, as you guys can see there, and not a whole lot of people know about this. And depending on what kind of settings the widgets have, you can adjust those settings here. So as you can see with my widget, I only allow you to scale the size. Otherwise, all the rest of it stays the same. There's no way you can change that unless you're good with code and you know how to go into files and edit the code, but you can change the scale. Now, every widget is a little different. So if we go into the fluid widget, which is the animated kind of smoky fluid you guys are seeing, when we go into the gear for this one, as you can see, there are more options to configure with this widget. You can see there's a random ripple amount. So you really just got to kind of play around with these to get them the way you want, depending on what kind of settings they do have. Now they get crazier than that. So if I exit back and we go to the Uni AW8 mod, this weather one here. So if I go ahead and enable this widget, and as you guys can see, it is the animated weather that is slowly coming in towards the top there. If I click the gear on this, as you can see, there is a ton of options, and I mean a ton of options with this widget. It just keeps going and going, and there's so many different things you can adjust with the widget that you could sit here and mess with this just, you know, for a half hour alone to get it looking the way you exactly want it. Tons of options with that widget. So it really depends on the widget. Different widgets have different options. That's going to be the same as like this rejection widget down here. If I go into rejection and I click the gear there, as you can see, this is how the settings are configured for this widget. You can change the sizing of the app box. You even have RGB controls in here as well, where you can fine tune colors and stuff like that. So really depends on the widget and, you know, what you can customize with it. But a lot of widgets are like that, so that you can actually customize the widget to how you want it. Now, another cool thing with ZenHTML is if we go to the home screen. So iOS 14 brought the ability, oh, it looks like my alignment's a little off. I just got a notification and my alignment's a little off on my overlay. So you guys couldn't see what that looked like, but that's okay. When you go ahead and put your icons into jiggle mode here and you go to add a new widget, so normally the stock iOS widgets you do this way, but also ZenHTML allows you to do this too. And this is going to be a foreground widget. As you can see, I have a foreground widget here because it moves with my icons. Now I can demonstrate this again. We'll go ahead and put our icons into jiggle mode. I'm going to search through widgets, and this is going to start to look, not that one, search the ZenHTML widgets. And this is going to start to look a little crazy, but I'm just doing it to demonstrate it. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on done here. And now you can see the widget is being overlaid on the screen. And this is where you can move it. It snaps to the y-axis. So if you want the widget way down here, you could do that, or you can keep it up here. You have your settings here as well. There's no settings for this widget, but if there is settings, you can adjust it from there. And then let's just say we wanted it like, I don't know, like this. And it's going to look totally crazy, but it's going to show you what you can do. So I just placed a foreground widget. So when I swipe, it swipes with my icons. So there's a ton of customization you can do with this. And I believe you can even, let's go ahead and put our icons into jiggle mode again. Edit home screen. And yes, so if you want to remove this widget now, you can click the X, same as on this page. As you can see, here's this widget I have on the foreground on this page. You can click the X. And then as you can see, the background widgets remain because you have to edit those from settings. So that's basically how ZenHTML works. There's a lot of customization, a lot of like kind of features I would say that are a little bit hidden in it that you can do. And I'm going to quickly show you guys how you can install a custom widget if you can't find the repo for it, or if there is no repo and it's from like Daddy Cool or Kenny Roo or anybody that likes to create these that don't have a repo. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and multitask here, and I'm in Kenny Roo's Dropbox. Apparently we need to do this a different way. Maybe I left it open in Chrome. There we go. So we're going to go into Kenny Roo's widgets here, and I'm going to go ahead and download one. I'll do, I don't know what they look like. I'll do this Frosty Roo Pro, and I'm going to click on export. Now you will need Filesa to manually install these. So we'll save to Filesa, and I'll click save. And now I'm going to exit out. I'm actually going to go into Filesa. It should open us up directly to the download. I'm going to unzip it. I'm going to go into the widget, make sure that's my content. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and click on edit. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to put it into my iWidgets folder. I believe it needs to go into iWidgets, but there's 3 places where widgets can go, and it's in var mobile library, I believe here. And within library, you will find 3 subfolders for ZenHTML. There's SBHTML, there's LockHTML, and then there is also iWidgets. Now I believe this one needs to be in iWidgets. I'm going to go ahead and test it by going into settings. I'm going to back up so that ZenHTML refreshes. Actually, I might want to just kill it from multitasking just to make sure. I'm going to go into mods, ZenHTML home screen, and that was Frosty something. Let's see if I can't find it. There it is, Frosty Roo Pro. So there we go. Here's the widget I just installed. As you can see, it's kind of just an app box to place our apps on. Let's see what kind of configs there are. No configs, so this is the way it comes, and as you guys seen, it does work. Now it really depends on the widget. Some need to go into different places in Filesa. If we hop back into Filesa here, so I did place that in iWidgets. So right there is iWidgets. So some need to go into iWidgets, as you guys can see there. If it's for the lock screen, it needs to go into LockHTML. If it's specific to the springboard, some need to go in there. And I think there's actually one more place called just widgets. Yeah, in the universal section here, as you can see, I have rejection in there. So I'll leave all the file directories if you guys are really looking to dive deep into this and install custom widgets. 4 different file directories, and they'll all be listed down below. I'll even leave a link to Kenny Roo's widgets if you guys want to download those. So that's gonna be basically it for this video, guys. That's a ZenHTML, very in-depth, very crazy, and very cool tweak. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely throw me a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot here at the channel. And if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to click that subscribe button. This has been Jeremy, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.